Hello friends, good evening and namaste. My name is Brahmachari Vineet and with me is Brahmachari Gaurav, and we are right now speaking from a monastery in Khandala. Today's webinar will be based on the Autobiography of a Yogi app. If you don't have the app, I would highly recommend you to have that app. It's available on the Play Store, and there are some beautiful quotes taken from the book Autobiography of a Yogi for every day. So what we'll be sharing today will be based on the quotes from that app. So before we begin with the satsang, with the talk, we will do some chanting and a brief meditation, and then we will get into the talk itself. Till then, the words of the first chant are very simple. It's from joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. In case you're in a place where you're freely able to chant, join us virtually. And if not, you can do it also mentally and just calling out loud these words in your mind. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. For joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I came for joy, I live in sacred joy, I melt again. From joy I came for joy, I live in sacred joy, I melt again. From joy I came for joy, I live in sacred joy, I melt again. From joy I came for joy, I live in sacred joy, I melt again. From joy I came for joy, I live in sacred joy, I melt again. Let's pray together, invoking the presence of the Masters. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Great Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, Paramhans Yogananda Ji, Saints of all religions, we humbly bow at Thy feet. Divine Mother, help us feel Thy presence in this meditation and throughout this life. Help us feel Thy bliss, Thy joy, and Your love. Oh. The words to this chant are also very simple. It's, so do Thou, my Lord, so do Thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do Thou, my Lord, so do Thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do Thou, my Lord, so do Thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do Thou, my Lord, so do Thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea.
We'll take this next chant into meditation. The words of this chant are, "O life is sweet and death a dream, when thy song flows through me, my Lord. Then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream, then health is sweet, sickness a dream, then praise is sweet and blame a dream." Which is the devotee trying to affirm that state which is beyond duality, which doesn't see through the lenses of the ego in divinity. When God's power flows through us, then everything seems all right. So we're trying to affirm that through this chant, and then we will go into meditation. Life is sweet and death a dream. Oh, life is sweet and death a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream. When joy is sweet, sorrow a dream. Then thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Health is sweet, sickness a dream. Then health is sweet, sickness a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Praise is sweet and blame a dream. Then praise is sweet and blame a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Oh, life is sweet and death a dream. Oh, life is sweet and death a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream. Then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Then health is sweet, sickness a dream. Then health is sweet, sickness a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Then praise is sweet and blame a dream. Then praise is sweet and blame a dream. thy song flows through me. My Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, thy song flows through me. Let's prepare for meditation now. Let's tense and relax our body with a double inhalation. Let's do this 3 times. Let's inhale. Once again, gathering all the tension. And one last time. And now assume a relaxed posture and forget the body. Try to be absolutely still. And in these next 10 minutes or so, let's try to use a technique of meditation to calm the mind and to feel the presence of the Masters, to feel the divine in any of its aspects of peace, of joy, of calmness. Let's try to tune into that now. If you are new to meditation, you can watch the breath. As it flows in and out. See it at that point where it enters the nostrils. And watch it as it goes out of its own, without controlling it. Simply observing. The yogis say, as you watch the breath slows down. And as the breath slows down, the mind too slows and calms down. So try to watch the breath very intensely now. And now you can let go of the technique, but enjoy these last few minutes, gazing gently upward, behind closed eyes. Being totally relaxed, open and receptive to whatever comes, to whatever you may feel now. And now, let's try to share these blessings of peace with friends and family. Visualize them radiant, joyful, and uplifted. And as we rub our palms, let's gather the energy in our hands and see a stream of light flowing from our hands to these friends and family. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good evening and welcome once again, dear friends. I'm very happy to be with you, all of you, this evening, sharing the wisdom of the Autobiography app. We have a few readings, Vineet and I, which we'll be talking about. And I want to start from this reading for February 1st, which was last week. And these are words of Mirabai, the woman saint Mirabai. And Paramahansa Yogananda ji quoted these words of her in the Autobiography of a Yogi. It says, "If by bathing daily God could be realized, sooner would I be a whale in the deep. If by eating roots and fruits He could be known, gladly would I choose the form of a goat. If the counting of rosaries uncovered Him, I would say my prayers on mammoth beads. If bowing before stone images unveiled Him, a flinty mountain I would humbly worship. If by drinking milk the Lord could be imbibed, many calves and children would know Him. If abandoning one's wife would summon God, would not thousands be eunuchs? Mirabai knows that to find the Divine One, the only indispensable is love." Just on that note of love, I also want to read something that Swami Kriyananda wrote many years ago in writing to the renunciates in the ashram, in Yogananda ji's ashram. And he writes here, "Dear ones, how easy it is to be sidetracked from the greatest commandment, to love God. How easy it is to follow lesser rules at the expense of important principles. Fasting and other ascetical practices are so much less exacting than devotion, but love alone can truly satisfy us, and love alone can conquer God." Beautiful words. And I want to talk today about love, and the next passage we will read is also about love. But starting with this reading of Mirabai saying that all these outward things that we can do and we do, if they could bring God to us, if they could bring the divine to us, then she said, I would gladly do all these things. But she says it is not the case. God is not so easily found. And the way to find Him is love. And that is what Swami Kriyananda is also saying. Now friends, I want to explore this a little bit, that what is it that each one of us is seeking in life? If you ask yourself, beyond all the superficial things that we think we seek, what is it that truly each one of us seeks? And I was introspecting on this one day, and I just realized, above everything else, what I want is to feel better. Now, isn't that true? Analyze that for a moment. You're feeling some, state right now. You're feeling happy, sad, whatever it might be. But we always want to feel better than what we are feeling right now. Isn't it true? And it's interesting that one time Swami Kriyananda, towards the end of his life, he said actually that God is a feeling. So also just to emphasize that it is a feeling that we are all after. The others you can say are details of our lives, the job and the work and the family, everything else is fine. It can add to that. But if anything is not helping us become uplifted in that feeling, then we have to ponder about what is wrong. So, if it is that feeling that we are seeking, and we call it love. We all want a feeling of being loved, and of a love, like Swamiji says, that will satisfy us. He said love alone will satisfy us. And this is no ordinary love that we are talking about, because as human beings, we go through our lives, we have barely scratched the surface of what it means to know, share, and experience true love. The saints say that if you knew how much God loved you, you would die for joy. You would not be able to contain it. How thrilling that is to know that that is our potential. To feel that much love is within each one of us, the power. We have that. And how do we feel that love now? Because we've realized this is what we want, but how do we feel that? Because you may say, I don't feel that love all the time, most of the time, anytime. How do we feel that? Now I'll tell you a secret which is also a law. And this is commonly misunderstood. But to feel more love, it is said that we have to give more love. And it is so paradoxical. You might think, wait, I want love, so it implies receiving. How can you say that in order to feel love, you have to give love? But strange are the ways of God and of this world and of the spiritual realm. It is true, and every saint down through the ages, whether it was Christ or Krishna or Kabir, everyone has said, love God. That's the first commandment of Christ. Krishna says, worship me, adore me, forget everything else. And so you wonder, this is so strange. How can I give something I do not have? But that is how it works. Think of a mother, as she has a child who is perhaps very small, and through the years, 5, 10, 15 years, till the child becomes an adult, the mother, what does she do? She loves the child, isn't it? She adores him, when he or she is very small. She tends to his needs, she clothes him, she bathes him, she feeds him. Now think for a moment, is the child giving her anything in return? No, not really. Tangibly, at least not. Materially, no. But does the mother feel great love from her child? Of course she does. She feels tremendous love for the child, and this all becomes an act of worship. She loves serving the child. She looks after him, in numerous ways. So the mother is feeling a love. Without receiving, you can say love. She's feeling love in the process of giving. Why does that happen? The saints say because when we give love, when we express love, in other words, we forget ourselves. And when we forget ourselves and the little ego, in that forgetfulness, we can feel that love of God. So you might say, okay, it's becoming clearer and clearer to me. I want to feel love. I want to feel love all the time. And you've told me that in order to do that, I need to give love, I need to share love, I need to express love. Well, then you might say, okay, how do I make this practical? Because when I go out for my job, it's easy with my family maybe, I can do it very easily. I love my son, I love my daughter, my husband or my wife. But I step out of that house into my parking and I bump into someone, who's not lovable. And who misbehaves and who is this, that and the other thing. And you think, how can that law work under this circumstance? That I should give love if I want to still keep feeling love. And that brings us to the second reading for this evening, which reveals the answer to that dilemma that we may very easily have. And these are the words of Swami Sri Yukteswarji, who was Paramahansa Yogananda's guru. And he says here, ordinary love is selfish, darkly rooted in desires and satisfactions. Divine love is without condition, without boundary, without change. The flux of the human heart is gone forever at the transfixing touch of pure love. And what he's referring to here is that he's saying that the way we understand love, our understanding itself of love is very limited. We are used to loving people because they love us back in return. But what happens if you love someone and they disappoint you? You feel, what was wrong there? Why do I not feel that love anymore? And he's saying because ordinary love is based on giving and receiving, And as we had just discussed, the only way to find pure love is when there is no taking involved, when it has to be just one way, when you give, and that giving itself nourishes you. On a practical level, friends, if we want to feel love all the time, with that neighbor, with that colleague at the workplace, under any circumstance, what we have to remember is something he referred to in that passage, the term unconditional, which is to say that when our love can have that strength, when it can have that power, where we are saying, I am such a fountain of love, I do not need love from outside. I know that love lies within me, and I am so strong in that conviction that come what may, it does not matter to my love whether it is reciprocated, how people treat me, whether they even are grateful for the love and sympathy and kindness I express to them. Then we are beginning to glimpse just a little bit of what it means to experience God's love. So ponder upon these, because I too meditated recently on this word unconditional love. It's not an easy thing to understand. Those of us who are disciples of Paramahansa Yogananda or any truth seeker, when you enter into a guru-disciple relationship, often the guru asks you for something. And it is, he says, I give you my unconditional love. Will you give me yours? And we take a pledge sometimes. Yes, I do that. Ponder, what does it mean to give unconditional love? And try it. Don't get overwhelmed by that, responsibility. It is not. It is simply letting go of conditions, letting go of expectations in the pure joy of loving. So if we can do that, we can just begin to glimpse into what it means to have pure love and to experience it.
Thank you, Gaurav. And this reading is from Feb 14, and well, in a way it seems like a continuation from what Gaurav was saying, but let me read it and let's have a discussion about this. These are words from Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji. It says, these are words of Paramahansa Yogananda Ji from the chapter 12 named Years in My Master's Hermitage. The words are, a master's word cannot be falsified. It is not lightly given. The implications in the pledge open out vast metaphysical vistas. A guru must be on intimate terms indeed with the Creator before he can obligate him to appear. Now, those of you who have read this book, and if you haven't, I would highly encourage you to read this book. But this passage comes in the context where Yogananda Ji meets his guru, Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, the second time. This is his second visit at Yukteswar Ji's ashram in Serampur near Kolkata. And basically, I'll actually read it because I somehow felt it very interesting to read it. Just before this passage, Yogananda Ji says, Yukteswar Ji says that, you should take up your college, you should start your college and, follow my wishes in this particular regard. And since you live close by, you'll be in Calcutta and Sri Rampur is close by, you can visit me whenever time permits. And Yogananda Ji says in reply, I will visit, he says in essence, he'll visit his guru every day if possible. And he says, gratefully, I accept your authority in every detail of my life on one condition. And now you might say, here, Gaurav was speaking for all this time about unconditional love, and here Yogananda Ji says to his guru, I accept everything you tell me, every authority you impose on me, except under one condition. And Yukteswar Ji says, what? And Yogananda Ji asks him for a promise. He says, that you promise to reveal God to me. And interestingly, just after that, there's a small note where Yogananda Ji writes, an hour-long verbal tussle ensued. Now, this is very interesting that on one hand we speak, yes, of unconditional love and everything. And yes, our love for the divine has to be unconditional. But there are times when we pray to the divine, we say, I love you, please give me this, or please help me in this situation. It might be a good job, it might be a situation in your relationship with your friends, with your family. It can be a situation where you're working on a difficult project. But Yogananda Ji had just one demand of his guru, that you promise to reveal God to me. And we might think that, oh yes, here is someone who can fulfill my wishes and who can help me and who is one with the divine. But then shouldn't we make the most out of it? Instead of asking little things, we should ask the maximum what we can ask of. Later in that passage, Yogananda Ji also says that he knew the divine stature of his guru and was determined to take the most out of it. And similarly, we must be determined to take the most out of our relationship with the guru. Now, in case, you feel, if you're a disciple of this line, if you feel an attunement with Yogananda Ji, then yes, make the most out of it. But even if you don't, and if you just feel that divine power coming from this master, this great master, you can always pray to him. It is not that they'll be biased towards you if you're not his disciple. They'll always help you. Great saints always come to your aid when you pray to them. And always pray for the highest. Just try to make sure you're praying for the highest thing you can. Yogananda ji used to say to his disciples when he was in the West, he said, don't pray like a beggar. One, he would say, pray believing. And he had introduced this concept called prayer demands. And what was he doing here with his guru? He was demanding his guru that I am ready to do everything and anything, but on the condition that you will help, you will reveal God to me. And he says an hour long discussion was there, an hour long, not little. He didn't let off his guru go, no, let's discuss about it later. Let's imagine Yukteswar ji said, let's discuss about it later. You've just come, nothing doing. I want to find God. You have to reveal God to me. And yes, we can be happy sometimes, the great ones always help us in whatever situation we are. So it doesn't mean that, because if it's a little situation for us, we should say, no, I can't pray. Yes, you can pray. But don't forget that there is much more than that which you can get from them. There is a story, I don't remember the exact facts of the story, but I know the essence of it, that a man, he dies, he leaves his body and his soul goes up to the heaven. And there's an angel there, and it takes a tour with this soul, and there is a junkyard, apparently a junkyard on the left and the right while on the path they are walking. And there is, why I said a junkyard is because there was, let's say, a Mercedes, a wonderful house, a heavenly palace. It was just so beautiful, and this person was just not sure, how do you say that this is junkyard, this can't be junkyard. And then this angel said that, oh yes, this is junkyard, because people, they just they didn't want it, so we just had it in the junkyard. And he said, who is this who didn't want all these things? And then this angel said, well, it's interesting and very surprising that you say these things, because all these things were meant for you and you were the ones who didn't want them. And he said, wait a minute, I knew if I were given a choice to have this, let's say an example of Mercedes, I would have gone for the Mercedes. And the angel said, no, but remember your prayer for the Tata Nano? I'm just giving an example, but remember that example of Nano? You were so desperate praying for Nano that there is your Mercedes in the junkyard. Well, such can be sometimes our wishes in life. So keep your goal the highest. Don't let's try our best to look at the highest. And Gaurav was mentioning about unconditional love and deep divine love. And this saying from the Bible came to my mind, which says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. So once we aspire for the highest, once we aspire for the kingdom of God, then all the other things shall be added into our lives.
I want to now read some words from Bhaduri Mahashaya. He was also known as the levitating saint in the Autobiography, because in deep meditation he was found levitating off the ground. So, and these are words that he spoke when someone asked him, because Bhaduri Mahashaya was from a very well-to-do family and with considerable wealth also, and as such he had great prospects if he chose to go in that direction in the world. But at an early age, he renounced all that and wanted to single-mindedly follow the spiritual path. So somebody remarked to him, that why, you've left so much behind you when you could have had all that. Why did you leave all of that? And these are the words, his words. He says, I have left a few paltry rupees, a few petty pleasures for a cosmic empire of endless bliss. How then have I denied myself anything? I know the joy of sharing the treasure. Is that a sacrifice? The short-sighted worldly folk are verily the real renunciates. They relinquish an unparalleled divine possession for a poor handful of earthly toys. A very funny statement on one level, because he's reversing the case. You think of a renunciate as someone who renounces things, and inconveniences himself to be able to find something else. And he's saying people in the world, he's saying, are the real renunciates. They are renouncing an empire of cosmic bliss, endless joy, eternal love for a few handful of earthly toys. Well, to you and I, that statement may not seem to be that way, because we are yet in the world and perhaps are surrounded by a lot of earthly toys. But just remember to keep, as Vineet was saying, your sights ever high. What Bhadri Mahasaya was referring to is the potential each one of us has. Why does it seem too far? Only because we are perhaps just beginners on the spiritual path. It is said, and this was the words of a great mystic, Rubaiyat Omar Khayyam, who said that in the beginning of the spiritual path, a devotee's mind is like a river of desires. When you come on the spiritual path, you're determined. But he said, you have your past samskars, you have all of those things. And he said, it's a river of desire. But he says, years of spiritual discipline, he said, invigorate the seeker. Wherein a point comes where, as Bhadri Mahasaya is saying, you simply lose your taste for all those things that once held you so captive. And I was thinking, how can we even believe that that would be true? Now think of a child. The child comes to you, perhaps he's your son or daughter, and he's troubling you. He's like, just saying, he wants your attention, and he's just wanting something very badly. He says, give me this. And you say, okay, here you go, here's a toy, and maybe it's a toy giraffe or a toy elephant, that you've given him. And the child is very happy, and he's just playing with the toy. He pretends it's a real animal, and he's talking to it and moving it. He's just enamored with the toy. Now, the second day, what you do is, you say, okay, Shashank, let's do one thing. Let's go to the zoo. Zoo? What is a zoo? The child doesn't know. He says, come along, let's go to the zoo. And the child is like, okay, let me pack my bag, let me take my toys with me. And he gathers the giraffe and the elephant. He has no idea where he's going. Holds them very close to his heart. And he walks with you to the zoo. And he walks into the zoo. And what does he see? He sees this real giraffe. He sees a big, huge elephant. And what happens? He was clinging to that giraffe. He was clinging to that stuffed toy of an elephant, and he looks at the real thing and he's like, and then slowly he keeps his toy in the bag, because now he's seen the real thing. He's seen the real giraffe. And that is kind of how it is with devotees, with truth seekers, that as we begin our journey in life on the spiritual path, the things of this world hold our gaze. And we hold those toys very close to our heart. We refuse to let go of them. But as we begin to dive deeper and deeper and discover the real toys, which Bhadri Mahasaya was referring to, all by themselves, without even forcing, coercing, like a child who did not have to be told, leave your toy. The attachment we just leave behind. We put down the toys. I also remember in a similar vein, for the first time, when I took a flight, which was in the evening, at night. And, I had just had a busy day and I was relating to the world and people and sitting at the airport. And when the plane started taking off and I had a window seat, and at night, if you've been on a plane, you see, thousands and millions of lights just light up, and you are at 30,000 feet looking down. And, you just get such a sense of perspective that for those hour or 2 hours when you're sitting looking down, you just forget everything else. You forget about, your petty worries. You can say, oh, that's a pinpoint where my worries were, and you're in such awe that, wow, this is the bigger picture. And that again can be compared, that when these states which the great yogis talk about, when they come, we do not want anything else. And then we too are happy to leave aside the toys for the real thing, which we are seeking: joy, eternal freedom, bliss, and that is what satisfies us no end forever.
This one is from Feb 12. Master's eldest brother Ananda tells him, money first, God can come later. Who knows? Life may be too long. To which Yogananda ji replies, God first, money is his slave. Who can tell? Life may be too short. And this is from the book, in the book from chapter 11, named Two Penniless Boys in Vrindavan. And, I have read this line a few times, not just today, but over different periods of time. And when I read this line and it says God first, money later, and when Master, gives a reply to his eldest brother, and I say, of course, this is the way it is, of course. But interestingly, what happens is when it comes to dealing with day-to-day life, we forget that. And I don't know about you, but I definitely am like, when my mind is so deeply engrossed into something like, okay, now how do I get this and this and this? So, when we read it, it can be like, yeah, right, God first, all the things will follow after that, because everything is God's slave. What is the meal I'm going to eat? Of course, I can leave that to God. What is, what is my project? Of course, I can leave it to God. Money, wait a second, money, I doubt. I think here is where I have to use my mind, because God may not be able to help me here. When once I was sitting in one of my classes, it was a class on the stock markets and other things when I was pursuing my chartered accountancy. And there was a professor, he was, I think, an investment banker or something, and he said, he was somewhat materialistic, and it was very hard for me to sit in his class. And finally, he gave this, he gave this declaration, which was that God created the universe, and then the stock markets came, and then he left it to us because he couldn't handle that. So we are the ones who control the stock market. I couldn't handle it anymore. I never attended his class. I walked off and then never did attend the class. But anyways, the point is that we may think that yes, God takes care of my relationships, God takes care of this. But there's this one tiny thing that God cannot take care of. Well, I have found myself and put myself into perspective, have been put into perspective so many times that God is the one who's created money. God is the one who has created everything in this universe. And if He can create everything, it is very well that He can also have perfect control over that. And again, it's important to put our priorities right, because, I might think that, okay, or one might think that yes, God first, but no, sometimes in actions it might not come. Yogananda ji in one of his talks said that it is very easy to be inspired. I'm paraphrasing him, and he said that it is very easy to be inspired momentarily by listening to a lecture, but what is important is to put it into practice. And he quotes his guru. He says, because of his training, I've put my spiritual priorities straight. And he said, there are 3 things which I never miss. And I'll actually read his own words in this context about setting his spiritual priorities straight. And he said, like we were discussing, it is very easy to be inspired momentarily and then forget much of what you heard. As a result of his training, he's referring to his guru's training, I have always kept my spiritual priorities straight. I never miss 3 things: my meditations morning and night, my exercises, and service to others. Let me repeat those 3 things. My meditations, which is morning and night, my exercises, and service to others. And let's see what he follows these words with. He says, these I religiously perform. All else of less importance I somehow manage. Now, we might think, or one might think that there is, this thing and this thing and this thing, but no, he said 3 things, just 3 simple things which he was very religious about, very, very particular, straight, and, kept it his priority. And then other things of less importance just followed. And one might think, how is it possible? Interestingly, Lahiri Mahashaya gave Kriya Yoga as a solution to all his disciples' problems, no matter what the problem came. Of course, it isn't that anyone would come and he would say Kriya Yoga and let him go. He would have surely given some practical counsel. But Kriya Yoga was the ultimate solution he gave for everything. Now, I would end on that note that how is it possible that, keeping Kriya Yoga or keeping your spiritual priorities straight can help you keep other things in line? One, and the most important thing is that when we practice these techniques, when we practice our meditation, when we practice in the passage Yogananda ji, when he was saying exercises, I think he meant the energization exercises. So when we do all these things, what happens? Our level of consciousness, which might be over here, by these techniques, by these practices, can come up. And then you have a bird's eye view to your problem. And like Gaurav was mentioning about those lights when he was on the airplane, you say, oh, that's a tiny little thing in this whole big picture. And then, well, you get solution consciousness, and there comes all our solutions in life. Keep your spiritual priorities straight, and if we do that, well, we can go a long way ahead. With that, we would like to end today's webinar. We thank you so much for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you the week after the next week again at the same time. Thank you. Enjoy to you.